it doesn't sound
No.
proper. Now if I fix my recitation and say Allah and then say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, definitely there is a big change in that.
Yes, of course. Traditionally in the Muslim world, small children have learnt the Quran, and then after that, after a certain age, they don't study anymore.
Exactly.
Is this system still workable? I mean, can a child absorb enough and remember enough that it'll last him throughout his life?
Well, he can definitely recite the Quran, memorize the Quran, retain the Quran, reproduce the Quran, but that is not the ultimate purpose of the Quran. Now it's the job of the adults who are supposed to, at a certain age, after they become a little bit more mature, that they should try to teach them how to understand Quran. So when the Quran is being recited, they should understand at the same time.
This is one of the problems, isn't it? You have from like Indonesia to Turkey,
right.
People recite from Fatiha till Nas and don't understand it.
Right. That could be one of the biggest, ijaz, miracle of Quran. But at the same time, the purpose of revelation of the Quran is كِتَابٌ أَنزَلْنَاهُ إِلَيْكَ مُبَارَكٌ لِيَدَّبَّرُوا آيَاتِهِ. It's mentioned in Surah As-Sad, that we have revealed this Quran unto you full of blessings. Unfortunately, most of the Muslims stop at full of blessings, that this kitab is full of blessings. But why is it full of blessings? لِيَدَّبَّرُوا آيَاتِهِ, so that you may ponder upon the ayat. And only men of understanding can reflect. So it's a very great ayah that we need to take our students, our youngsters, one step ahead or further. After they memorize, they should begin to understand the Quran so that they can implement the teachings of the Quran in their lives.
Yeah.
So this is just one aspect, because we have 5 huquq of Quran. Number 1, to have iman in the Quran, to recite the Quran, to understand the Quran, to implement the teachings of the Quran, and to teach the Quran to others. So most of us are only, probably stuck in the second aspect, where we're learning to recite the Quran, or they have recited and memorized the Quran, and that's about it. Maybe just leading, a very simple life. But taking the next step will take you to a level where you become a mutadabbir, where you become a person who always reflects on the ayat. When the Quran is being recited in salah, you can reflect upon what the imam is saying, and that is like a direct and a live broadcast from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so you can take guidance. Because remember, 36 times approximately we are seeking guidance, ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim, ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. And Allah does respond back in a form of guidance that unfortunately we do not understand.
Do you have a TV program in Canada? I mean, do you have any website or anything like that where you put your lessons forward?
Actually, I'm in the process of producing a website, and I don't have a TV program as yet, but I do have a CD and a DVD that is available. Okay. It's called The Art of Recitation of Quran, and also The Rules of Tajweed. I conduct a 6-hour workshop on Tajweed that starts off from the most basic level. Any individual should know just how to read and write, basically. And then we take them from that level to a very fairly good level where they can come to a level of a reciter. They can make a ghunna, they can make mad, they can make, idgham and some of the rules. And when they finish the workshop, actually, they get a chance to see how the rules have been laid out. And the most highlighting thing that we always tell our audience is that it takes weeks, it takes months, it takes years to learn Tajweed. But the workshop that I conduct basically highlights how to master the rules in a short time. So for example, the Lafzul Jalala, Allah. Many people cannot turn their tongue and say Allah. So we have made a mathematical equation and say, how do you pronounce L-A-W? L-A-W is law. In Lafzul Jalala, the second part of Lam is law, but the first part is A-L-L plus L-A-W plus H, Allah. So on and so forth. So we have different examples that highlight the audience so much that, alhamdulillah, they can move forward and learn words very quickly at a faster pace. And modern techniques have been implemented, how the brain works, how you can retain, what is the things that you have to do, how to breathe. So it's a very interactive and a very dynamic workshop, And alhamdulillah, so far I have conducted this workshop for approximately 55 times.
Wow.
In different parts of the world.
Yeah, not just Canada.
No, not just Canada, US, Canada, couple of times in UK, and a whole lot of times in Saudi Arabia, and also in the UAE as well, alhamdulillah. So it's moving, alhamdulillah.
Good, good. It is, because unfortunately a lot of people, you know, they ignore this very important point. A lot of Muslims, it doesn't enter into their lives. They have a work-a-day existence.
Yeah.
And, you know, especially in the Gulf.
Exactly. That's the reason why we've designed this short course, this workshop. Instead of you getting yourselves enrolled in a full-time school, all you do is basically take this 6-hour course. You can spread it out in 2 days for 3 hours each, or you can spread it out in 3 days, 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours. Whichever is convenient. Accordingly, you can definitely go ahead and take this course. And after the course, then, you know, you'll feel really confident. And then you can enroll yourself and sit down with any sheikh, any teacher, and continue on, basically. This is just to put a student on the track, and we just give you the push. And it's a really nice push, basically. It really empowers them from within.
Right. Now, the rules of tajweed, or the rules of recitation of Quran, came during the Prophet's time, didn't it? Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Actually, that's a very interesting point that you bring up. The rules of tajweed were already there during the time of Prophet Muhammad, but none of the rules were actually written down or, you know, classified into topics, basically.
It was just passed on by
speaking, basically, yes, from mouth to mouth, basically.
Yeah,
okay, so the Prophet Muhammad taught his Sahaba, and the Sahaba taught the Tabi'een, and from that it kept on passing from one generation after the next. Similar, like my Shaykh, it goes back from his Shaykh to his Shaykh all the way until it reaches Prophet Muhammad, approximately 30 or 35 teachers. And that is called as the continuous chain of recitation. Silsila mutawatira fi qira'at al-Quran al-Kareem. So it came to a point where, you know, when there were a lot of people entering into the fold of Islam, Umar radiallahu anh thought that, you know, it would be better that if someone writes down some of the rules, so that people will be, you know, having less difficulty in following the rules of recitation.
Especially the non-Arabs.
Exactly, exactly. So that's very essential, because today we have literally from every corner of the world, alhamdulillah, Muslims who are speaking many different types of languages, and every person who speaks a different dialect, different language, has some way or the other little difficulty in reciting.
Yeah, different kind of difficulties.
Exactly. So in order for them to have something written form, it's easier to understand, okay, you're supposed to stretch for this much, you're supposed to produce your sound from your nose, and, you know, you have to touch your tip of your tongue behind the front 2 teeth to take out qa and va and things like that. So that makes it a little bit easier for the learner to learn, unlike back in the days of our companions and Prophet Muhammad.
Because there were some companions who were famous for beautiful recitation. You know, there's that hadith where the Prophet asks, was it Ibn Mas'ud?
Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anh, definitely. Yeah.
He asked him to read.
Exactly, he asked him to read, and Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anh was so humbled and actually shocked at the same time that he said that, how can I recite when the Quran has been revealed to you? And he said that, I love to listen from someone else. And that's when the tears went down the cheeks of Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anh. And it's amazing that, subhanallah, that Prophet Muhammad used to recite himself very eloquently. At the same time, he loved to listen to others, because actually it was serving 2 purposes. One, he was actually hearing from others. At the same time, he was making sure that when someone is reciting, if there is anything missing, you know, if we look at it that way. That way, you know, when he's gone, this message and the recitation can be passed on from the companions all the way until it reached after 14.5 generations to us.
Right. It's a very poignant fact that the Quran came to us through the companions.
Definitely.
And those who, you know, we have some people in the world who abuse the compassion.